Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Strategies for Success workshop. This evening, you will hear from several faculty and staff members here at the Port St. Lucie campus. We have information that we do feel will be beneficial to you as a student at Kaiser. Also this evening, we want you to know that this is not us presenting to you as faculty and staff members. We want you to participate as well. So during the session, the workshop, if you have questions, type them in the chat. We will be glad to respond back to you. Just keep in mind, we are here to make sure that you are prepared and ready for next week, which is your start at Kaiser University pursuing a degree. Go ahead, Ms. Adams, the objectives. So the objectives for this evening. So upon completion of this workshop, as a student, you will be able to apply the skills that facilitate college success, such as time management, such as active reading, learning styles, different resources that will help you along the way as you move forward in one class to the next. Also, how to go about setting goals, short-term goals, long-term goals, and how to basically apply those goals to what is required of you on a daily, monthly, or semester basis. How to develop effective time management strategies and techniques so that you are on track with the goals that you set out for yourself. Also exhibit technology competencies. As you all know, technology is very important. We all use technology on a day-to-day basis, and as a college student, you will need to know how to navigate and utilize the different applications to help you in each of your courses. Critically evaluate outcomes and decisions as a student is very important, and also utilize effective problem-solving skills. So those are the objectives that you as a student should be able to complete and master once you've gone through this workshop, and also taking time to review the manual or the guide that was sent out to you by Ms. Adams. So this evening, you will hear from Dr. T. You will hear from Mr. Walega. You will hear from Ms. Karina Bojera, and also Ms. Adams. If you can go back, Ms. Adams, to the front slide, just so that I can share the different topics. I do apologize for not stating that first. So you will hear from Ms. Bojera about Leadership Distinction Program, which is an amazing program for our students. And because you're attending this workshop this evening, you have already accomplished one of the tasks that is required from you as a student. You'll hear more about that. I'm not going to take the lead on that. I'll allow Ms. Karina Bergera to share that information with you. You'll hear from Dr. T about time management, which we all know is so important, okay? As a student, also as a parent, also as someone who is trying to basically take on a lot of different things that are coming your way, a parent, a student, also for your employee. You're just trying to be able to accomplish it all, but you must implement time management. Active reading and note-taking, you will hear from Mr. Walega, how important that is as a college student in order to be able to get through all the different assignments, quizzes, and tests that are required of you as a student. Making a weekly plan, Mr. Hanna. Mr. Hanna will speak to you about, just how to make whatever you put in place work for you. What is the plan? How are you going to achieve and accomplish the goals and the plans that you set out for yourself? Then Ms. Adams will go start the Kahoot activity game. You will need your phone, okay, for the activity, and the winner will receive a prize, and we'll give you more information about that. And then closing, we will answer any questions that you have, and then just send you on with some additional words of encouragement as a new student at Kaiser University. So I'm gonna pass the mic on over to Ms. Karina.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for being here. This is definitely a great step in the right direction to start you off on your way to success. The Leadership Distinction Program is something that we offer here, and basically it is a program that is going to improve your professional development, soft skills, different things like that, and you will receive certain accolades for it. It's comprised of two different components. There are the seminars that you must attend, and then there are also volunteer hours that you have to complete. The number of these is different based on the program that you're in. So if you are in a bachelor's program, you would need to complete a minimum of 10 LDP seminar classes, plus a minimum of 16 volunteer hours throughout the entire length of your program. If you are in an associate's degree or master's degree program, you have to attend a minimum of 8 LDP seminars and complete a minimum of 8 volunteer hours. Now, with the LDP seminars, I'm sorry, you can go to the next slide, Kelly. Okay, so that basically outlines what I just said. It's the requirements there, and don't worry, all of this information is available around campus. We do have a QR code for you to get more information about LDP and also to sign up. You will also be able to see the calendar of the rest of the seminars that are scheduled for the year. And you can always come and see us in Student Services or Samantha in the library for additional information. We can go to the next slide. Thank you. Okay, so there are a few of the programs that are considered top tier and lower tier. Basically, when you do meet all of the requirements, which I'll go over in just a second, you would receive a completion certificate and a letter from the president, and you would also earn a distinction program cord to wear at the graduation ceremony, and that's honoring you for completing the leadership distinction program. It goes on your resume. It's definitely something that looks great, plus you have the benefits of learning all of this additional information and improving your soft skills. Okay, next slide. Thank you. So again, there are two different tiers. The top tier seminars are required. So getting the interview, financial success strategies, and job search using technology are 4 seminars that you must attend in order to meet the requirements. And that's regardless of what program you're in. The remainder can be made up of lower tier seminars of your choice, and you can see the list of subjects here. So things like the power of networking, leadership development, emotional intelligence, civic responsibilities. There are a variety of topics that you can choose from, and those are offered at different times throughout the year. Generally, we offer the top tier at least twice per year, and the others are at random. Sometimes we can combine 2 into 1, so you can earn 2 credits during one seminar. And as Dr. Reed mentioned, you're already earning 1 credit towards the LDP program by attending the Strategies for Success tonight. You can also get more information about each of the individual seminars on page 51 in your Strategies for Success guidebook. If you have any questions, I'm going to try to stay on for the remainder, but please feel free to put any questions in the chat or come and see us. But we definitely hope to see you at the next LDP seminar, which is scheduled for September 19th. That is a Tuesday. It's 1 p.m. and it's here on campus. Sometimes they may be in the evening or offered virtually as well. The one on September 19th is going to be a financial success strategy seminar. So it's one of the top tier. So that's already available for you. And again, we hope to see you there.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Karina. My name is Dr. T. I am the program director for exercise, sports science, and sport management. I also am the program director for BSIS. And I am the campus TLC, or Teaching and Learning Center coordinator. So I'm going to go over a little bit on time management and particularly organization. And as Dean Reed mentioned a little bit earlier, I can't stress enough that good time management skills are essential to achieving your goals. We can't emphasize that enough. And so we're going to look at various steps in a little bit more detail as we go along in the next few minutes. We're going to get to reflect, review, and get some ideas on how to practice time management skills. But first, let's look at a very simple assessment. So if you have a pen, pencil, or paper handy, you can kind of jot down an answer for each of these 6 questions. And if you don't, just commit the answers to memory. And then basically what we're looking for in the end is a total score. So if you look at each of the questions, you would score yourself in terms of never, seldom, sometimes, always, or often. So think about how often do you plan in an effort to keep life from running out of control? Give yourself a number. And then, do you allow flexibility in your plans? Do you put your daily plans on paper? And that doesn't have to be paper as in a sheet of paper. You might use a chart, you might use a planner or your cell phone, whatever it may be. Do you put daily plans down? That's really the important part. And then how often do you accomplish all you plan for a given day? How often do you plan time for what matters most to you? You know, there's a lot of things that are important in your life. And so all of those things kind of need to be assigned in terms of time. And that's important moving forward now that you're going to go into classes. And then lastly, how often is your daily plan destroyed by urgent interruptions? And it might not even be an urgent interruption. What if it's just something simple? It still kind of puts a roadblock in front of what you want to accomplish for the day. So if you wouldn't mind, add up all of your numbers and come up with a score. Let's take a look and see what these scores mean. So you can look here, and no need to jot down or take any screenshots. All of this is in your Strategies for Success guidebook. So you can kind of go back and retake the quiz, or maybe have everybody in your household take the quiz. It's really kind of fun because what you probably thought was going to be a very average or higher score maybe isn't. So identify whether you're in need of improvement. Maybe you just didn't score well enough and you're kind of average, maybe a little bit better planner than most, or just have mastered planning and you are considered to be excellent. And then next to each of the categories are just some steps or suggestions that you can take to better yourself in the categories. There's some questions that you can probably think of automatically where you didn't score very well, and those are roadblocks for you to really get your time management skills down and use the best time management that you can. So let's go into the steps of time management and organization. First one is to prioritize. So you want to think of prioritizing very wisely. What tasks are important or have immediate urgency? Most everybody's busy. So how do you decide when to do things, where to go, who to see? The answer is time management. So sometimes we can multitask and we can do more than one thing at one time. Some people can really multitask and do a variety of different things. And it's important, not that that's bad, to know yourself and adjust your workload appropriately. It's up to you to prioritize your activities. If you are a most successful student, then you place a high priority on classes, but you don't neglect the other aspects of your life, like home, job responsibilities, your college experiences, your kids, planning meals, and so on. So I'm going to take all that into account. One of the things you can think about doing here is where you prioritize on day 1 of your class, you're going to get a syllabus. And so hopefully in your planner, you'll be able to put down your instructor's name, number, address, their office hours, just in case you need to reach out, you have that at your fingertips. Put the items in your planner, your booklet, your cell phone, your calendar, whatever it is you're using for time management and to record everything that you need to keep track of. Make sure that you locate in your syllabus your assignments, your exams, your papers, your projects, and their associated due dates. You want to put those in your planner and kind of remind yourself a couple days in advance of when they're due so that you're not all of a sudden crazy with anxiety because that due date is approaching and you haven't really started working on it. So it's always good to schedule ahead of time. All right, let's go to step 2 and talk about planning ahead. So here we're thinking about balancing all the responsibilities of our life, our job, our home, school. It's not easy, but no matter what, you're always left with the same 24 hours in every day to check off those items on your to-do list. So you also not only want to take care of the things I've just mentioned, but you want to spend time with family and friends. You want to unwind. So planning ahead and using your time wisely, you'll be able to accomplish more, and then you can enjoy more added free time. I have 8 very simple things that you can consider in your time management strategy. The first one is try not to get distracted. It's super easy to get distracted. So you have to think about what draws your focus away from your studies and your assignments. Think about your social media and the time you spend on it. Are you texting? Are you taking personal calls while you're studying? Do you find that a lot of time has passed while you're just aimlessly browsing the web? So these are the things to keep in mind. Create a to-do list. Identify for yourself what you need to do, and then prioritize those tasks based on the assignments, when they're due and when they need to be completed. This gives you a set plan for the day, and it's kind of easy to follow. Sometimes you get overwhelmed because you have large projects due or big exams, and the anxiety kind of makes you crazy. So not only that, you tend to procrastinate and you put things off. And the best way to deal with procrastination is to start small, start simple. And it's called chunking. So you do things in small steps so that you kind of work up to your larger projects or assignments. If you're juggling multiple assignments or tasks, then you're likely to end up being less productive. So you try to combat that urge to multitask and just ask yourself, what are my most common distractions? Is it emails? Is it social media? Is it electronics? Can I turn off these devices and these applications? Do that no matter what, because then you have broken that habit and it'll be well worth it. Set a routine so that you can accomplish the things you need to do. And in your planner, I know it's kind of silly, but you want to put down everything you need to do in a day. Now, at the end of my presentation in a couple minutes, I'm going to show you a pie chart. And you can use the pie chart in the guidebook that you got to make one for yourself. And so you're always putting in things that, you know, your time for studying, time for reading, the sleeping time, the eating time, working in short intervals or time breaks, things that you need to do with family or kids. You have to schedule all of that. So soon it becomes habit. It's very habitual and it becomes part of your daily routine. And that's really what you're after. Lastly, it's important to take time for yourself. So if you sit there for hours on end and you study and you read and you write, pretty soon you're just going to check out. So again, I go back to that chunking where you work a little bit on assignments, you work a little bit on reading, and then you break it up with some breaks, kind of refresh your mind. Let's go to reducing stress and see what we can do about that. So now in terms of managing stress, you know, a little bit of stress is normal for us, and it's a part of our daily lives. And actually a little bit of stress is actually good for us. But when those stress levels get a little bit higher, then we can't really successfully manage everything. And even the simplest things become a challenge. So staying organized is one of the responsibilities that you can think about to reduce your stress levels. I want you to write in the chat, if you can, and think about a time. Number one, it's a 2-part. So you're going to write 2 things in the chat. Number one, when was the time you felt like you had no control over a situation because you were totally unprepared for it and you didn't plan ahead? And then, if you don't mind, putting in a time opposite where you felt like you had complete control over the situation because you were fully prepared. You felt less pressure, less stress. You felt like you were in control of the situation. Think about, you don't have to share all of that, but what was the main difference? Most of the times you feel control over the situation is because you managed your time and you were prepared for it. So I saw that one person wrote the kids got sick and had to take off from work. And you know what? Life happens. So that's something that you have to take into consideration and kind of account for. That's one of those things that just throws you off the beaten path and it kind of destroys the road for the day. But that's okay because you can work around that and get back on track. All right, let's go to the next part on setting goals. All right, in setting goals, we talk about being one of the most important steps in managing your time. So knowing what you're using your time for in the first place, of course, is very important, but setting goals and identifying your time wasters can help yourself be more on track. So we talk about setting goals, both long and short-term goals. Now, long-term goals are things that you can think about in a month from now, couple months, half a year, 1 year. So in the chat, can you think of a long-term goal that you have for yourself that you'd like to share with us? It can be anything. What do you have your sights on a year from now? Maybe more than a year from now. And then you look at short-term goals in your weekly calendar. These are the days that you piece together for your week to track your short-term goals. So these are things like, I'm going to get all my chapters read by the end of the week. I'm going to turn in all my assignments on time this week, and so on and so forth. So it's important to establish short-term and long-term goals, but to look at those periodically because those goals keep you on track. Next, let's look at timeline. So you're going to have assignments and tests and all with different dates. And it can be very much overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be if you practice time management. So one thing you can do is write down all your deadlines ahead of time. I mentioned that earlier. And obviously, you know, when your professor repeats things, these are the aha moments where you say, okay, this is the second or third time I've heard this. This is something I need to key on and remember. So on that chart or calendar or sheet of paper in your phone, you can schedule your time to work according to what you have due first. Write down every aspect of your schedule, all your social activities, all your lecture hours, your study time, the cooking time, the exercise time, the family time, put it all down. That leads me into productivity. So if you're not constantly racing to meet a deadline, then you can put more effort and thought into your work. So if you think about time management as helping prioritize your tasks, then you can make sure that you kind of have all that time to complete every project. So think about your quality of work. So when you're not rushing to complete it or trying to make that fast approaching deadline, the quality increases. So we think about productivity as a measure of efficiency of a person completing a task. We often assume that productivity means getting more things done in a day, and that's not necessarily true. Productivity means getting things done, but consistently. And that's really what the focus should be for you. No matter what you're working on, there's only a few things that are really, truly important. I'm going to end with two things. And the first one I want to include in productivity is to take advantage of campus resources. I cannot tell you how important these are. The Teaching Learning Center has 16 people. It is very strong and has most everybody that you see here in presentation tonight are members of TLC. We can help you in any subject with any tutoring. If you need more time management, if you have test anxiety, maybe you need some training on how to use Blackboard or study skills or test taking strategy, no matter what it is, you would get a hold of TLC to help you. The Writing Studio is there to help you in your classes where you need to do writing endeavors. You can visit the library, the Math Lab for help. You can visit on your blackboardtutor.com. Every class you take has 5 free hours of tutoring. Take advantage of those. This is all free to you. New this fall, we have in-person general studies tutoring workshops. So you're going to get to see a schedule where you can actually on campus come in for an hour. I think most of them are 1:30 to 2:30 in the afternoon. And you can attend in person a workshop on math and English and A&P and microbio, whatever it is to help you in strategy to get through the class. All Kaiser math help is coming also next week. And so you're going to get a schedule if you're in a math class where you can actually attend a live workshop with students from Kaiser University at the flagship campus who can help you navigate through your math course. And of course, Karina and Melanie, student services are valuable in terms of just going to them with any questions you have because they are a wealth of information. So in my last slide, I want you to think about Ms. Adams, if you go to the next one, your end goal. And think about this affirmation. When do you think you would be able to complete your degree? So if you really consider our steps of prioritize, plan, managing stress, putting some short-term goal, long-term goals into action, creating a timeline, being more productive, when do you think you can finish your degree? And this is a long-term goal. This page itself is a long-term goal because you can look at it now and then, smile and say, yeah, I'm on my way and I'm doing it. So thank you, everybody. Oh, I'm sorry, but go back one. I'm really sorry. I forgot one of the most important points. I didn't realize this was still in there. So this is the chart I referred to earlier. This is the pie chart. This is in your book. You can take the chart and just kind of cross out the numbers that are there as just an example and put in your own. It's important to look at every hour you spend throughout the week. And then you can look at it and say, oh, I spend 12 hours a week on social media. Okay, well, that's sometimes important because I have to attend a wedding coming up and all of that is involved, but not most times. So you can take away hours and put them where you need to manage time more, like more for studying or at work or whatever it may be. So again, make use of this time to help, this chart to help you.
All right, looks like we're jumping to making a weekly plan. Now, a lot of this information you're going to hear is slightly redundant, but we want to cover a few things. And one of the important reasons you need to make a weekly plan is, next slide, please, Miss Adams, is this. Here at Kaiser, we are not on for most classes the traditional semester system where you would take 4 or 5 classes and spread them out over, 12, 16 weeks and maybe meet for 3 hours a week. All of your classes, with the exception of the nursing classes, are 4 weeks in length. So boom, 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 boom. You will meet either 12 or 20 hours per week, and the assignments and the work comes fast and it comes furious. Pardon me, furiously. Let me get the adverb right there. It comes furiously, quickly and furiously. And so you need to be aware of what's coming up week by week, and you need to plan what's coming every day because there's really very little downtime. And so you need to know what's coming up each week because, like I said, before you know it, week 4 is going to be coming up. That big paper is due. That final exam is coming. You might have multiple assignments each week. You could have a quiz and a test each week. So you need to make a weekly plan. And one of the best things you can do before you do anything else, as soon as you get access to your class, is click on the calendar link, because if the instructor has put all the due dates in of everything, it will pop up on that calendar. And you can see when things are going to be due, and you can start planning it out every week. And this is a very important thing to do because, like I said, you do not want to be caught off guard with an assignment that's due. And a lot of instructors, myself included, have very stringent deadlines for when things are due because there are only 4 weeks in the class. We can't let things float, a week or two here, a week or two there. Next thing you know, you're in the middle of week 4. So you need to keep a weekly plan. As Dr. T was talking about, one of the first things you do when you make your weekly plan is this. The first thing you have to do is know when you can't do your schoolwork. And this is something I iterate in my composition classes. You have to know when you cannot work. Everyone has obligations. People like to sleep. You have to drive places. You might work. You might have kids or parents you take care of, all these things. So when you do make your weekly plan, you need to know when can you absolutely, positively not focus on your schoolwork. And then you work backwards from that. And then you look at your course calendar and you look when things are due and you work backwards through your weeks to figure out when can I work on the things that are coming due. Most people use planners, and there are multiple types of planners out there. There are the big books you can get. You've seen those that are broken down minute by minute, hour by hour, or there are ones that are more general that just give you a blank line, a blank column for a day. What you have to learn to do is figure out what works best for you. How best can you plan out your week? So, a lot of times you just have to kind of play around with it and just learn what works best for scheduling your time. So, Ms. Adams, next slide, please. So what do you work put in your weekly plan? Well, again, due dates for the week. You can find these in each week's module, or if you want, go to the calendar and you should see every due date that's been put in for the class. Other important tasks. One of the most important ones you need to do is to remember to check your student email every day. And I can't emphasize how important this is because email is our official way of communicating with you as an organization. And if you don't check your email every day, you could miss out something like perhaps a quiz gets moved a day and you might be, you know, cramming and cramming for that quiz and you find out you still got an extra day. So you need to check that email every day. And an unacceptable excuse is not, I don't check my email. So make sure you make that part of your daily and your weekly plans. Personal tasks, we talked about that. Anytime you can't work on anything that's related to school, no matter what it is, get that in there, block that off, say this is no time. Also, plan a little me time, a little downtime, a little relaxed time, because you can't just go, 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 or you will burn out, especially in a 4-week class. What can you realistically get done each day? Understand yourself. One of the first things you have to learn is understanding yourself. What are your study habits? What are your work habits? Where, under what circumstances do you work best? Some people can go to Starbucks and plop down with a huge old latte and just work with all the bustle around them. Some people need to be at home quietly with minimal lighting and background noise. You have to figure out what the best conditions are under which you work, and then figure out how to work that into your work plan. Make your daily work plan match your due dates. If you don't have a quiz on Thursday, what is your study schedule like? How do you study? Are you someone that can absorb a lot of information fast, or you need to span it out? Again, your short-term goals like visiting campus, the library website, reaching out to the writing studio or to the math lab, all these things. Next slide, please, Ms. Adams. And finally, here's an example of some plan templates. Again, this is a very, very broad one, and you can go as detailed as you want or as loose as you want. Again, it depends on you. You have to understand, you know yourself better than any of us will ever know you. So you need to understand, how detailed do I be? Can I be very general like this, where I can just have a square for Monday? Or do I need an hour by hour by hour, or half hour by half hour by half hour planner for my weeks? But whatever you do, do not wait, too long. As soon as you get access to that class, start looking for due dates, start looking for the types of assignments you're going to have to do. In some of the classes, you have small assignments and you have large assignments. Some you might have a couple of small weekly quizzes, daily quizzes, and a large weekly quiz. So understand exactly what is being looked for. In the first day of class, the first day you get in contact with your instructor, ask what the expectations are and understand what they are. And that's the best way you can plan out your weeks. Good luck.
Hello there. My name is Joe Walega. I'm one of the instructors for the RT program. I see there's a bunch of RTs in this chat session here. Fantastic. I also see some nursing students and a sports medicine. Guys, the stuff that we give you during these classes is accelerated, and the information is not something that you talk about at the dinner table every night. An example would be Bremsstrahlung radiation. How many people have talked about Bremsstrahlung radiation at the dinner table? I didn't think so. So Mr. Hanna says, yes, he does it on a nightly basis. Don't believe that. But the point is that we have to train you into a new language, and that medical language takes time. So again, Mr. Hanna, the way he spoke about the time management, so very, very important. And as well as what he had mentioned about knowing yourself. You have to know yourself well enough to say, you know what, after 9:30 at night, my brain turns to fettuccine Alfredo. It don't work. It's shut off. I want to watch a little bit of boob tube, and that's it. You may not be that way. You may be the one that can stay up to 4 o'clock in the morning and study. I don't recommend it, but if that's the way you are, again, you have to know yourself. So it's so very, very important. The other part that I'm going to be doing is this active reading and note taking. Because these are accelerated classes, you have to read your textbooks. Your instructor will tell you, okay, tomorrow you're going to read chapter 2. Please, we're going to go over chapter 2. Please pre-read it. You know as well as I do, as most people understand, that it takes more than seeing, hearing, or doing something 1, 2 times. Most people take several times to hear it, see it, do it before they can master that. And when I mean master it, I mean doing well on your exams. In regards to the RT program, it's a 16-month-long program, folks. That means you have to remember what you did in the first class through the 16th class. And then that ends with the national boards that you take at the end of your 16th class. So that's a lot of information. And it all comes down to how you read, how you take your notes. Miss Adams, would you adjust me to the next one, please? Thank you. So active reading and note taking, they gave us 5 different methodologies of how to do it in this particular PowerPoint slide. When you were a kid and you're in high school and your teacher said, go home and study this, what does that mean? Everybody may have a different way of studying, and that's good. You have to find out what's good and what works for you. As it says there, there's no right format. There's no right way or wrong way of doing it. What works well for you is the important thing. Again, as Mr. Hanna had said, you have to know what really about yourself and what works well with you. So please, may I have the next one, please, Miss Adams? Thank you. This is one particular method, is Cornell Notes. And as you look through this, it goes over some concepts. I don't particularly do this one. There's other ones that I have in mind that I do, but it has a bunch of the elements that's inside this Cornell note-taking process. It mentions about recording the lecture, reciting, looking at questions or making up your own questions based on some of your notes, reflecting on these things, and then reviewing it at a regular basis. May I have the next one, please? Thank you. The method number 2 shows outline format. I'm all about outline format because what you want to do is extrapolate the data that's important from the textbook and put it in your own words in outline format. You want to get the meat and potatoes out of the textbook so you can go back when you review your notes. You don't have to use all the fluff that's in the textbook. You just have the main ideas and the concepts and then sub ideas after that. There's a whole process that we can go through with you on this. The third method, as they show, is a flow chart or a concept chart. I love doing this stuff. It's great for nursing also. It's great for RT. Since we have our own language in the medical community, we can utilize some of those things. In this particular flow chart, it shows you what's going to work. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? And it points about what you can do and go back to see what you can do to change it to make it work well for you. Next one, please. Mind mapping, another great one. They use this similar to flowcharts. They're using the little boxes and lines and bubbles. Again, this is a great one for utilizing a common concept and putting all the elements in and around it. And then you're able to utilize that later. There's a process that I teach my students when I do the radiology program. And it starts out with this idea of a picture. In my mind, I'm thinking of a portrait of a woman. She has her hair parted in the middle. It flows down to the sides of her head. She has a faint smile on her face. And her eyes, that gaze of her eyes, it looks like it follows you everywhere you go to look at it. Well, for some people, they automatically think of the Mona Lisa. Well, that's because that image is so strong. That's why in textbooks, they put all these different figures, these illustrations, these photographs. Great way to learn is to kind of go through these as a a basic start of skimming through the chapters. Again, I have this nice outline that we can talk about at a further time, and Dr. T will be more than happy to provide it for you through the TLC. We do it all the time if you don't like these ones that they show here on the different methods. I particularly like this method number 5, where you're writing on slides. You get the PowerPoints ahead of time. It's on Blackboard. Your instructor has them up there for you. He tells you, okay, we're going to do chapter 2 tomorrow. You run right to the Blackboard. You get and download all these, you print them out, and look, it's got the meat and potatoes right there for you, and you have a little spot where you can put your own notes. What more do you really need? That's right on target. I like to go a little bit further, but it gives you plenty of ideas and concepts of what you can deal with. Next one, please. So active reading. How do we know that we're going to be doing some active reading? Well, the first concept is that we have to figure out what we think is important. Well, how do you know what's important? Well, the first thing is read the chapter objectives. It's going to say something to the effect, the student will know how to. The student will be able to compare and contrast. The student will be able to decide or do whatever they're saying that you're going to do. But the concept is telling you exactly what you need to know, what's important in that chapter. So you go through that, looking at the objectives. As you read through the objectives, you start to skim through the chapters and look at the highlighted areas, look at the bold printing. Look at the various images, the illustrations, the photographs, read the captions, get a feel for what they're really trying to teach you in that particular chapter. You go back to the chapter summaries. The chapter summaries are real good. I enjoy doing the summaries because for the most part, they take a lot of the information out of the fluff wise, and they get the information out of the fluff and they leave it in condensed format for you right there. So that's another great way to say, oh, listen, this must be important because they summarized it again in a chapter. So that if you need to go back, you can go back to that area of that information and you can do a little more work with it. I like to write all of the end of chapter questions if your textbook allows you to do that, or get a workbook. I'm a workbook kind of guy. If I have a textbook, I want a workbook. If I have the workbook, I'm going to read the associated chapter in that workbook, and I'm going to look at all the different questions they ask. Again, they're telling you what's important. Great. So now we got an idea what's important. Let's go back to the textbook and start reading the chapter word for word. I take out a one color highlighter, and if it meets the objectives, if it's in the summary, if it's in the workbook, I'm going to highlight that puppy. And I want to be able to see all that stuff when I go through the chapter. Once I'm through highlighting everything in that chapter, I'm going to go right to those highlighted areas and I'm going to write them down, outline format, so I have that information. And I do it in my own words. That's my note taking. That's how I extrapolate the data. You know, when you go to class the next day and the professor starts to lecture or to do activities regarding that particular chapter, you should be able to go down the line and follow along just with your notes. You should use the one that we had prior with the Miss Adams. You should go back one or two. Let me see which one it is. That one there. Thank you. The one back forward one. The one with the slides on there from the PowerPoints. What a great spot to put all that information. It's right next to the slide. I go a couple steps further. I like putting page numbers on there. So if I need to, I can always refer back to that. And it's not a big deal where you have to go looking through the chapters and waste time doing it that way. Put your page numbers down there. The next slide again, please, Miss Adams. Thank you. Okay, so what do? I've read the chapter. I've highlighted the important stuff. I took the notes on that important stuff. We're in the classroom. The professor's going over it. What if they don't go over it enough to your satisfaction? That's your time to raise your hand while you're going over it and ask the professor, hey, what about this? Or the textbook said this, I'm still a little cloudy on that. Can you expand on that concept? Can you give a little more information for us? It's great. So at that point, then you have a good idea. What if you had something that the professor said and you didn't highlight it? While in class, I would highlight that area in the textbook in a different color. That way, when I go home, I can amend my notes with that new information. That way, I'm not skipping anything. Make sense? I'm sure it does. The idea of doing the concept maps and drawing the illustrations and label diagrams, because you're the one that's producing it, you're the one that's making it, there's a better opportunity for you to understand it and to remember it. It's all part of doing the work to get it so it stays. Part of the last thing I do, next one, please. Part of the next thing I like to do is to reflect on these and recite my notes out loud. Mr. Hanner had mentioned about knowing yourself and not sitting in Starbucks if that doesn't help you. I like to get everybody out of the house, ditch the cell phones, turn off the radio, turn the TV off, get the pets out of there. I put earplugs in. I want to be in my own zone. When I tell my students to practice or try this, put your fingers in your ears and speak to yourself out loud. It's just like you have your earbuds in and you listen to your favorite tunes. It sounds like the tunes or speaking comes right out of the center of your head. This is a powerful way, an opportunity for you to learn. You stand up, don't be sitting down, and you recite your notes out loud. Now, when I say recite them, don't recite them like you're reading some drippy Laura Roberts novel. Oh, she gushed when he came through the door. No, 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 no. Put some action in there. Put some passion into what you're doing. You're embarking on a career that you've chosen. Have that passion in that career. Read it like you mean it, like you really want to learn it. Very powerful way to learn. When it comes to this particular PowerPoint here, it mentions about finding the reading strategies, a distraction-free zone. I'm all about that. I have to have that. And you go down through the numbers and see what works for you. As I said, some of this may work for you, some of it may not. You may take from one particular PowerPoint slide a couple of items and maybe utilize it with other ones on the PowerPoints, but it all works out in the end. Again, you have to know yourself what's going to work well for you. Miss Adams, next one, please. Before I pass it off to the Kahoot with Dr. T, just another concept. Could you go back one for me, please? I'm sorry, I'm making you bounce around. Number 14 on the right side, it says avoid rereading. What a time waster. If you took the notes from the highlighted areas, you got the meat and potatoes what you need. Unless you really need to go back there for a better explanation on something, work with your notes, because that's going to bring your brain and your head back to where you were before. If you guys have any questions or any comments, please come see me on campus. Again, my name is Joe Willega. More than happy to help. I'm with Dr. T in the TLC. So we're there to help you. I have, again, learning strategies and other ways. If you need more help in this area, we're more than helpful to give you a hand anytime you ask. Dr. T, take it away.
I think it'll be Ms. Adams, but.
Oh, Miss Adams, take it
Okay.
away.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Liga. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do a quick Kahoot game to wrap up. So if you could on your phone, you don't have to download anything, just in your phone's browser or your tablet or something like that. Just go to kahoot.it or kahoot.it. I'm going to pull up the Kahoot screen in just a minute, but if you've never played Kahoot before, what you're going to do is go ahead and enter the game pin, which I'm going to put up in just a minute, and then you're just going to enter a nickname. The Kahoot strategy is to, once the game starts, they're going to have questions on my screen. You'll have the answer options on your phone or device, and you just have to choose the correct answer. It's multiple choice. The faster you are with the correct answer, the more points that you get. So just bear with me for 1 second while I switch the screen. But in the meantime, again, you're just going to go to kahoot.it or kahoot.it in your web browser. You don't have to download anything or do anything major except for just open up a new browser. Okay, so you guys should be able to see the screen with the PIN number on it. So again, once you have access to kahoot.it, You're going to enter the game pin, which is 988272. Enter your name or nickname, and then we'll get started as soon as the majority of you have joined. If you're unable to play along, if you are on the go or you can't access your phone right now or whatnot, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that everyone gets a chance who is going to participate. Okay, we'll maybe give it another 30 seconds or so. If you join a little bit late after we started, the game pin displays at the bottom of the screen, so you can still join even if we've already started. Okay. Another 10 seconds or so, just make sure everyone gets a chance to get in. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. Once again, the question will be on the main screen and you'll have the answer choices on your device. Have fun. Okay, so 1, to prioritize means to. What does it mean to prioritize? Yeah, to give preference to more important tasks and responsibilities. A way you can kind of remember that is the PR, prioritize giving preference to things that are most important on your to-do list, on your goals, things like that. The most important things are going to be your priority. Okay, question number 2. Short-term goals are. What are short-term goals? Okay, so those are things that one wants to accomplish in the near future. So your short-term goals are what you want to get done immediately. It can be in the next day, it can be the next week, it can be for the period of your class term, as opposed to the long-term goal of graduation. You don't have to have a goal every single day, but you just want to have those short-term goals that you're going to complete relatively quickly. All right, question number 3. True or false, you should communicate regularly with your program director / academic advisor. True. I'm so happy to see that everybody got that one right. One of the most important things is communication. Reach out to your academic advisor. Your program director for the program you're in is also your academic advisor. Reach out, communicate. They are there to help you. They're ready and willing to go above and beyond for you. You just have to make sure that you let them know that you need their help. Number 4, which of the following is an effective way of dealing with procrastination? Which of these is an effective way of dealing with procrastination? Okay, so breaking large tasks into small pieces. So procrastination, people tend to procrastinate not because of laziness or not wanting to do whatever it is the task is, but because it's overwhelming and they don't know where to start. So when you start, if you have a large task or an overwhelming task and you just break it up into small pieces, it can help you get over that roadblock of procrastination and get done what you need to get done. Okay, final question. All of the following are examples of the discussed effective note-taking methods except. So which one of these options was not discussed? Making flashcards, right. You can use flashcards for, they're generally not as helpful with things like lecture and reading, but if you need to do like memorization of vocabulary words, things like that, flashcards are very helpful for that, but we did not cover those today. Okay, let's see who our winners are. Peter, number 3. Briara, second place, and in first place, Macy Field. Congratulations. I'm going to pass it over to you, Dr. Reed, so that you can let Macy know what she needs to do to get her prize.
All right, good evening again. So Lacey, is it Lacey? Was it Lacey?
Macy.
Macy. Macy, are you here on campus Monday? She here on campus Monday? Just type it in the chat.
Yes, I'm doing actually online for my first class, but I'm going in to speak to Hal on Saturday.
Okay, so I am here Saturday, so come by the academics department to see me so that I can give you your prize. So thank you
Okay,
for
perfect.
participating. Thank you all for participating. Great job, well done. So this evening, you have received information from the faculty and staff about the different strategies, resources that we have here on campus. I'm going to basically repeat exactly what Dr. T stated to all of you. Please utilize all of the resources that are here on campus. We basically plan and implement different workshops, activities, to make sure that we're providing what you need to be successful as a student. So we want you to take advantage of all of the opportunities and resources that are available to you as a student, even if you're not here on campus. If you're an online student, you can come to the campus. We're here for you as well. Reach out to us. Contact your academic advisor, your program director, let that person know what you need from us, and we will make sure that we deliver. We are here for all of you. We want you to succeed. We want you to earn a degree in the program that you're pursuing. So I wish you all the best in your start next week and your studies. I'm sure you're going to do very well. I have no doubt all of you are going to work really hard to earn all A's and B's so that you are earning a 4.0 or 3.5 GPA in the program, okay? So are there any questions for us before we end the workshop? Any questions? If you have questions, just type it in the chat. We love to hear from you all as well. No questions? Do we have any questions?
Just as a quick reminder, keep an eye on your email tomorrow afternoon. I'll be sending out a copy of the Blackboard, Navigating Blackboard orientation PowerPoint, as well as a recording of the workshop that we just participated in so that you can go back and review anything that you might want to review. You'll also get handouts that'll show you like step-by-step getting through Blackboard, what to expect for online classes, the Writing Studio brochure, all of that. So keep an eye on your email. That will go out tomorrow afternoon around 4 o'clock.
One of the students asked if the bookstore was open on Saturday.
I
Yes,
believe it is.
yes. The campus hours on Saturday is 10 to 3. So if you need to come by the campus, we are here at 10 a.m. and it closes at 3 p.m.
Latoya asked, where do we get a copy of the guidebook? So that went out in the email that was sent today with the Zoom link for this workshop. It was there as a PDF attachment. If you're having trouble accessing it or opening it, just reach out to me, let me know, and I will send it again, or send it another way and see if we can upload it to maybe a shared drive.
There is another question that's for Karina. Karina, are you still on?
Ms. Bergera? I think,
So,
I
Anaya,
am still here, yes.
oh, she's there.
Anaya would like to know about the leadership program, how to join and apply for any leadership roles, or are you just members of the program?
So there are no leaders of the program. It's basically you would sign up and attend the seminars. Volunteer opportunities are available on campus and off campus. We provide a lot of that information in the library on a volunteer board, as well as an email that you can sign up for. But you can also join our Student Government Association to get involved, and that has a little bit more, leadership opportunities. There are a variety of ways that you can get involved, but there are no, it's not an organization where there are technically leadership roles within the LDP program itself, if that answers your question.
May I? Just as a last tidbit, folks, if you're having difficulties, you're having problems, it's so much easier for not only us, but for yourself to get a hold of us as soon as you can. Because if you wait too long, you may not have enough time to bounce back. So as soon as you have an issue, bring it to our attention and we can help you out. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Alega. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Don't see any.
Okay, well, thank you again for your time. Have a wonderful evening, a great weekend. And if you're here on campus, we look forward to seeing you Monday. If you're not on campus, you will hear from us on Monday. Thank you again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
One more question. It looks like we have one more question for Karina.
Yes, I tried to type in the chat real quick there. The LDP seminars are sometimes offered online. Again, when you see the QR code to get the information about LDP and sign up, you'll see a calendar of scheduled seminars. It will let you know if one of those is offered virtually on Blackboard. Most of them are on campus, but we're trying to mix that up and possibly have recordings available as well. So, just let us know if you are interested, but you're unable to attend in person. We can definitely find ways to make sure that you can get involved. And, again, we're trying to gauge what time would be best for students if they're going to watch them virtually, attend virtually. So definitely just let us know. You expressing your interest to us is going to help us to provide, what is needed for you guys to be able to participate.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.